Welcome to Planet 1390 Voyage. Today we have Justin Graziano. Is it Graziano or Graziano?
Graziano.
Graziano, amazing graphic designer, a comic book reviewer. But I'm just gonna go ahead and let him talk about what he does and how he got to the point of Vandal Volumes and how he became an artist, pretty much.
Yeah, so basically I've been doing graphic design for a very long time, and from there I started doing photography and video work. And basically I've been doing that, creating content for other brands and people within other niches. And I love comic books, so basically I thought, might as well do what I do as my profession and do something fun for myself. So that's where Vandal Volumes came in, and I decided to start creating comic book content, just around, stuff that I enjoy reading and sharing it with the world. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. How old were you when you first started like reading comics, and what was kind of like the first comic that sparked your attention?
So I don't know. I've been reading comics for a while. I don't remember like the first comic book I ever read, but I remember the first like series that I read that I really like fell in love with, that really like attached me to comics, was Origins, the
Ooh,
Wolverine story. And I really loved that
absolutely.
comic, and I read all those, and those were like probably like when I really like started like falling in love with comic books in general. Going to like the cons and stuff. It was super fun.
And so back, let's go ahead and go back to like your graphic design days. Like before that, were you a traditional artist that turned into a graphic designer, or like did you go straight into graphic design? What was your journey?
So basically, my parents owned a embroidery and print shop. So I
Wow.
started there, and before that, I was always like drawing and sketching and writing in like my school notebooks and stuff. And once I started working for them at that shop, one of the things that they needed was someone to like, set up all the print files and do all this and that. So basically,
Yeah.
I got into graphic design through that. And then I was in a band, and we needed band merch. So I started learning how to, create band merch. And it
That's
kind of was
dope.
this whole whirlwind of like, I started creating my band merch, and then I started creating band merch for other people. I started like screen printing and doing all this other stuff. And yeah, it was just kind of just like this whole like whirlwind of different stuff that kind of led me to where I am. But started with graphic design, then did photography, video work, and now I'm where I'm at now. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So
Yeah.
you obviously we all have our niche. What made you go head first into like reviewing comic books? Is that still kind of your first love above everything?
So originally I was doing like craft beer content, and
That's
that's like
awesome.
that was like a whole other page. And I still have that page, but I don't really use it anymore. And I was doing that for a while, and I got pretty good like following within that, and I started working for breweries and stuff, and I really enjoyed doing that, and I wanted to basically replicate what I was doing within craft beer for comic books. And that's kind of where I was like, I got to come up with a name, a handle,
Awesome.
and kind of figure out what kind of content I want to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to do reviews or whatever. So I basically found the name. And then from there, I was just like, I need to start creating content and just kind of find where I want this to go, because I didn't know what it was going to be. I kind of had a rough idea, but it just kind of took me starting to actually figure out what I wanted to do with it.
That's awesome. Now I'm going to actually kind of go back to embroidery because I actually just got myself an embroidery machine also.
Oh,
And
nice.
I love embroidery and I still have not finished teaching myself. So I'm working out of Embrilliance. A lot of people work out of different ones. So can you kind of tell me like what was because you know how to embroider pretty much, I'm sure.
I I did, but like now, like I don't touch that
That side of
software or
it.
anything
Okay.
anymore.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
but before we were working in like the Brother platform. I don't know, the Brother machines. Have
Right,
you heard
right.
of?
Of
Yeah,
course, of
so
course.
that's what I was working. It was the Brother programs and using the Brother embroidery machines, and it was great. They were a lot of fun, and learning to make stitch files, and making my own hats and t-shirts and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
So out of all the art that you do, the graphic design and just art that you do in general, what is your favorite process? Is it the photography of it? Is it designing, the branding? Like what is it that's the most exciting part of it to you? Because I know it takes a lot of whole pieces, I mean a lot of pieces to make one whole. So what's the most
Yeah.
exciting part of it for you?
For me, like I like coming up with the concepts. Like for me, when I started doing the comic book stuff, I would either see like a comic book cover or see the story, and kind of like for me, it would be like recreating the panels or like even just like a character within it to be like kind of like live action and doing that. And then probably like the editing process was like probably the most fun, like picking the songs, making the actual edits, like all that is probably like my favorite part.
So, do you draw? All right, like, are you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
So,
that's kind of where like I started with everything. I was doing like, stuff in sketchbooks
okay,
and like my notebooks in school and stuff. And then that led me into like the graphic design space.
okay. So, since you draw, are you like a traditional artist? Like could you make your own comic books, or are you interested in making your own type of comic books because
Oh,
you review them
definitely.
all the
Yeah.
time? Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually started like kind of roughing out a couple stories that I would love to do, but honestly, it's a lot of work.
It's
Like
it
I
is.
just like started like building out kind of like the characters I would like and then sketching in like kind of rough sketches of like what they would potentially look like. And that alone has taken a long time, but
Yeah.
it's definitely something I would love to do more in the future. Yeah.
I can't
I
wait to
agree.
see what you have under your sleeve, man. Like, because you review, like, okay, obviously there's so many comic books and so many titles
Yeah.
out there. You have the main companies, Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, but how do you select the comics that you want to feature? Because you put me on the Gromits, and I think that's one of the most
Oh yeah.
beautifully illustrated comics I've ever seen, or lately that I've seen. So, how do you choose your source of comics or what you want to show?
Yeah, so basically, for grommets at least, I used to skate back in the day, and that was
Uh,
like a huge thing for me. And as soon as I saw that comic, I was like, I gotta read that. That's like me right there. But generally for everything else, like I love horror, I love sci-fi, I like, action stuff. So basically, a lot of times it's like the artwork, and then hopefully the story kind of goes along with what I like. But usually I'll see a killer cover, and I'm like,
yeah,
I can check that out. And through all of my like comic book collecting and reading, I've found like a handful of like writers and artists that I really enjoy their stuff. So, I just kind of follow along what they've been putting out, and that's been kind of like my path of like finding new stuff to read so far.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, whose work are you stuck on right now at the moment?
So like probably my favorite would be James Tynion the Fourth. Like, Something is Killing the Children. Like once I read
Okay,
that, I
something's
was
killing
hooked.
children. Yeah,
Yeah, I was hooked on that, and then Nice House on the Lake, obviously, and then everything else he puts out has been really awesome. So I like following him. Rick Remender, obviously, from Grommets. I read Deadly Class, and I absolutely loved that series. And
awesome.
that basically from there, I was like, all right, I got to start picking up everything this guy's releasing because it
He's
was
putting
so
out a lot
good.
of fire. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and has a lot of stuff out there, and it kind of all of it has kind of like its own tone and its diversity, which is really fun.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, expanding from Vandal Volumes, right? It's a
Yep.
whole brand. We understand that's reviewing and all that. But
Mhm.
what type of materials are you going to put out there later that even pushes the brand even further? Are you going to do like merch or like what are your plans for the company and how you want to emerge it?
Yeah, definitely. Like merchandise is probably definitely in there, like whether it's like t-shirts, making prints or like stickers and stuff. Um, like my background with screen printing, I've designed a million shirts and printed a million shirts, so it's like naturally I'm gonna fall into that. But from there, I'm building out a website. Probably want to do like more written reviews too, that, not everything has to be a video. Like I want to make sure that even if like I can't do a video about a comic book, I can still like write a review
Awesome.
and publish it online. So that's part of kind of my plans right now. And then yeah, doing like new comic book day content and everything. Like kind of want to like build a website, utilize that, and maybe do like a YouTube channel down the line where it's maybe like more long form content,
Mm.
where maybe it's like going into further than reviews, maybe like digging into like lore of comic books and kind of like more in-depth stuff of certain stories.
Okay, so as a graphic designer, we already understand that client work takes up a lot of time from you being able to work on your own projects, because we have to get money. Like at the end of the day, we have to make money. Like
Yes.
that's always a hard thing. So give me a day in your life and how you manage your time. And
Oh
also
man.
after that, if you can remember, I want you to be able to tell me about like what your struggles have been as a graphic designer, like how it's been on the journey up, like really
Mhm.
getting to a substantial a place where you can make your own content like you're doing with Vandal Volumes? I know it's a mouthful, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. So basically, I have a pretty early day. I have two kids, so they wake up early, which gets me up early. But typically I start my work day around like 8 or 9 and then finish my day around 4 to 5 o'clock.
That's
And then
awesome.
after that, it's all family time. Around 9 o'clock, I jump back on and I still have like I have a full-time job and freelance stuff.
Wow.
So it's like the day job and then nighttime for freelance. And then I take probably about an hour or two after I finish kind of like my freelance work to do some Vandal volume stuff. So it's
Man,
like a lot of it's done at night. So
you're
like
a
all the
machine right now.
Vandal volumes, it's always done at nighttime. So
You
yeah.
are a
And
machine right
luckily,
now.
yeah, and luckily I was able to build like a studio in my garage. So I
That's
utilize that
awesome.
for all my videos and all my content that I create. So that's been super helpful.
That's awesome. Besides comic books, what else do you collect? I see skateboards and everything, but
Yeah,
is
I
are you
love skateboards. Obviously, I used to skate back in the day, so skateboards are great. I love Garbage Pail Kid cards, and I've also collected like Tin Man, like just paraphernalia, so just like Tin Man statues or like lunch boxes and stuff like
that's
that. So,
awesome.
yeah, that, and then I collected Funkos for a little while. Not as many as you got, but I have a little collection.
So yeah, I have too many.
Yeah. Yeah, and then comic books. Like once I fell back into comic books, I was just like kind of like a whirlwind of from there, just kind of going every Wednesday, picking up new releases. And if I, I'm out and about and I see a comic book shop, I got to check it out.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what do you see? What would be a dream collaboration for you? Because you're doing a lot of reviews, and I'm sure some people are going to start reaching out to you soon if they have not already. But what's something dream for you? What's something that you wake up and you dream about?
Yeah, honestly, it'd be really cool to, go to a con, like SDCC and like go do some cool content there. That'd be like a dream, like getting invited to an event like that would be really cool. Um, with craft beer, they had GABF, and that was kind of like my
That's
goal.
awesome.
I was able to go to that and shoot content for that. So if I could replicate that and do that and go to SDCC or even like New York Comic Con or one of those, like one of the big cons, that'd be super sick.
Man. So, what is your top three cons? Because there's a bunch of them now. So, what are your top
Yeah,
three?
probably SDCC because I'm in California and I would
Okay.
love to go to that one. And then probably New York. I'm not sure about a third, but those are definitely the top two that I've like been watching like online. I'm like, man, I wish I was there.
What are some things that inspire you, like art wise, every day? Things that you look at that keep on pushing you and give you your creativity.
Um, I do get a lot of like inspiration just through Instagram. I follow a lot of other like content creators that are like outside my niche, and I kind
Right.
of think that helps me kind of like figure out stuff that like, oh yeah, like they're doing that trend or this or that, and I'm like, how could I take that and apply it to comic books or the beer stuff or food or whatever kind of industry I'm trying to build in. So basically, honestly, just Instagram and a little bit of TikTok and stuff, but just following other creators not inside my niche like kind of helps me branch out. I feel like,
Yeah, I feel like we're both millennials at this point. So
Yeah.
so I feel like I want to ask you a question about like how was it transitioning, well, from what you can remember through life and trying to adjust as an artist, how do you feel like life is transitioned from like the way things used to be in like the 90s, early 2000s to the way we have to work today to like really get ourselves up there, like the transition of like going from like 2D to like everything being video and like how did you adjust yourself?
Yeah, it was a little bit tough, like at first I was like, leaning it hard into photography. And then once video became a thing, I was like, I don't know how to do
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
Like I don't know what I'm doing here. Um, I was like, I already have the camera, it shoots video, so I kind of had to just learn.
Yep.
But it was tough. Like honestly, I was like, I didn't want things to shift away from photography because I was like so set in my ways.
Yeah.
Um, and even with like learning to do photography, I was like, oh, I finally got it down. I know what I'm doing. And then video starts popping up. I'm like, all right, well now I gotta learn a whole new thing and kind of started learning video stuff during COVID, which kind of helped.
Mm,
I was like, you know, homebound and or like stuck at home and started just jumping on YouTube and watching all these guys with their cameras filming cool stuff
Just
and learning how to like set up my camera because I didn't know how to set it up properly. So that was kind of like where I started with video, leaning into like the transition from photography to video.
who are some of your favorite photographers? Like
Um,
still photographers.
So I love Peter McKinnon. He's great.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a
Yes.
big YouTuber. He's great. I follow him for a lot of inspiration. And then another guy, his name is Daniel Schiffer, and he does some really cool video work. He
Mm,
does
I feel
like
like I've
product
seen that name
commercials.
on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, he does product commercials, and his like creativity is out of this world. Like
Wow.
whenever I watch like his stuff, like not even like his like YouTube videos, but just like the content he creates for other brands, it's very diverse, unique, and he has a lot of like good ideas.
Wow. So I don't
Yeah.
want to hold you up all day. I feel like I can
Good.
ask you questions all day, and I
You're
might want a
good.
part two. But but what's something that you see yourself doing in the future that might well, I can't say that might surprise you, but that you feel like will push you even farther. Something that you may have thought about, a plan that you have in the future that you feel is going to really elevate your career.
I know. I'm hoping that, this Vandal Volumes thing, it's super fresh. I started it back in July. This is like kind of my journey right now of something new to try and like make something out of it. So I'm hoping that, this can become something more like whether it's through the YouTube channel, the website, or even just through Instagram. I love comic books and, just starting to work with like some of the indie brands would be great.
You
Obviously, like right now, I'm creating all the content from everything I'm purchasing, but if I can like actually collaborate with these people and help them, and that'd be probably pretty awesome for me.
Yeah, you're moving pretty fast because I followed you back in July. And I think I saw you in a comment on Image Comics page. I think I
Okay.
saw you like comment and I liked your logo. So I clicked on the page and I realized what you were doing. You were moving fast. Like that's why I asked you like how are your days going? Because I think when I first followed you, you had maybe had like 25 followers and you climbed up to like 347 or something like that. Lately, like you've just been climbing, 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 but you really have been putting in a lot of that work. And I just don't know how you're managing that with two kids and I like give me some advice, bro. Like, how did you get yourself focused without like burning out? Like,
So it is stuff like basically what I did before I started the account was I like backlogged content.
yeah,
So like I started like probably like 2 months before I actually launched the account, and I was like,
wow,
all right, I want to do this thing. I gotta like create some content, but I knew that if I was gonna create a new channel or a new Instagram page, like I couldn't just have like two or three posts go up here
right,
and
right,
there. I was like, I need to have like posts loaded up so
an
that I can like
onslaught.
yeah, so I could like stay up and relevant and hopefully grab people's attention. So basically, I just backlogged content, and that's what I'm trying to do now. So I'm trying to like, whenever I have like my content sessions, I'm trying to film at least two videos, maybe three videos. That way, when I'm like posting, like I have like at least one extra video in hand while I'm creating another video.
That's awesome.
Um, but as for like trying not to burn out, I still get burnt out. It's just that, I got to take a break some nights and, not work. So basically I try to like take Fridays off and not do any content creation or anything after my standard work hours, which is like after like five or like
Right.
4 or 5. So that's helped a lot. Um, Other than that, I've been trying to just manage my time better and my schedule better. I'm like, I have this project it's due on Friday. Let me try to get that done by Wednesday so that
Right.
my Thursday feels a little bit more open. So maybe I can get that whole Thursday night versus doing no freelance work and having that to create content.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The only thing I think what I'm trying to figure out is a really good workflow. Like that's still a hard one for me, especially how
Oh
when you're
yeah.
working on multiple projects, like the flow of being like, I have this because backlogging is okay, but you already know how as an artist, sometimes we flip the whole idea, something new comes up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what solidifies your work for you? How do you know when you're done and you're ready to put it out?
Uh, so sometimes like like you're saying like sometimes you get a new idea, and a lot of times that happens for me too. I'll have like a couple videos. I'm like, those are fun, they're sick, but I have like, I got that Hyde Street comic, and as soon as I picked that up, I was like, oh, I gotta like drop everything else and work
Yeah.
on this. I was like,
Yeah.
this is in my head right now. I need to get it out. So it's
Yeah.
just like sometimes I'll like have to move things around. I'm like, I don't have to get that thing done right now. So maybe I can add an
Yes.
extra hour to my work day to get that done or something, like that last 3 hours, maybe I'll take, 2 hours out of that to try to make this other thing happen.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's been tough. Like honestly, with freelance work and full-time work, full-time work is easy because, it's a set hours per day.
Right,
But
right.
for my nighttime hours that I do on my freelance work, basically what I've been doing is trying to just manage my schedule, set everything up. I'll write it down and be like, I have these four projects due in these days, and I kind of set them up so that hopefully I can finish them like with a day or two of lead time so I can have extra time to create content for my
Awesome.
personal stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, I really appreciate your time today. You gave me a
Oh
lot of
yeah, for
info.
sure.
I
Yeah.
got a lot of info because I've been, like I said, I've been working on trying to figure out a proper flow. And this podcast has been giving me, like I said, a voyage. It's been fun. And I'm just trying to learn
Yeah.
from people at this point. So I really appreciate professionals like you coming on here and let me talk. Well, let me ask you questions and talking to me and not holding any information back. I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
um, I wish you the best because you're going to be the greatest, man. You
Oh,
right
thank you.
now,
Appreciate
you're one
it.
of the fastest moving channels I've ever seen, and it's really inspirational to watch it because I always get worried about whether I'm not wasting too much time or, you know how it is. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like sometimes I'll be working on something and it feels like, is this worth it right now or
is it? Yes, exactly.
yeah,
But
totally get that.
you gave me a lot of inspiration. Just kind of like keep going. Sometimes you kind of know when you're on the right path, so you just kind of have to focus and hone down on it. So I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Appreciate you
Awesome.
having me.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks.